You ever feel like you're meant for more? Like school, work, or life isn't hard, it's just boring? You're not lazy. You just need a mission. You were born to build something that matters. In this top 10 rules for success video, Elon Musk shows how to be excited about the future, work harder than anyone around you, and fix problems that help the world. He says, don't worry about being perfect. Just keep learning and ask smart questions. He didn't know rockets, but he figured it out. He risked it all, slept in his office, and never gave up. He uses technology like a superpower to help his big ideas grow. You don't need to be rich or famous. You just need to care enough to start. Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
And if you make it all the way to the end of the video, put a hashtag Believe in the comments below so we can celebrate you in a future video. Believe. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Be optimistic.
I think in general, there's a lot of discussion of like this problem or that problem, and a lot of people are sad about the future and that they're pessimistic, and I think this is not great. I mean, we really want to wake up in the morning and look forward to the future. We want to be excited about what's going to happen, and life cannot simply be about sort of solving one miserable problem after another.
Rule number 2 is use technology.
Technology will help you do anything that you want to do and more of it. So, like I said, I think we are headed to a very interesting future. This is the most interesting time in all of history. So, enjoy the ride.
Rule number 3 is focus on feedback.
I say one of the things that was important then in the creation of PayPal was kind of how it started, because initially, the initial thought with PayPal was to create an agglomeration of financial services, so to have one place where all of your financial services needs would be seamlessly integrated and work smoothly. And then we had like a little feature which was to do email payments. And whenever we'd show the system off to someone, we'd show the hard part, which was the agglomeration of financial services, which was quite difficult to put together. Nobody was interested. Then we'd show people email payments, which was actually quite easy, and everybody was interested. So this is, I think it's important to take feedback from your environment. You want to be as closed loop as possible. So we focused on email payments and really try to make that work, and that's what really got things to take off. But if we hadn't responded to what people said, then we probably would not have been successful. So it's important to look for things like that and focus on them when you see them, and you correct your prior assumptions.
Rule number 4 is work super hard.
You need to work, depending upon how well you want to do, and particularly if you're starting a company, you need to work super hard. So what does super hard mean? Well, when my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA, and we're so hot up we had just one computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time. And I sort of briefly had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she had to sleep in the office. So work hard, every waking hour. That's the thing I would say particularly if you're starting a company. And I mean, if you do simple math, say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company.
If you want to take real action after this video, I made a free worksheet just for you. It covers the top lessons from today, gives you space to write your biggest takeaways, and helps you build a simple action plan. It's 100% free. Just click the link in the description to go grab it. Let's start building real momentum in your life and business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is invest in the future.
What advice would you give a young person getting into the stock market?
Stock advice, wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As I think people can perhaps tell, who are watching this, these questions are not prepared in advance. This is literally random questions from the crowd, which is cool. I'm fine with that. And I think that it's going to sound very straightforward, but you want to really buy stock in companies where you think the products that company makes will be better in the future. Is that company going to make more and better products, or do you love the products that company makes, and are they going to keep doing that? And I think Tesla, as I've just gone through, Tesla has a track record of having made many great products, and we're going to make many more future great products, and we're going to scale up production, and I think we've demonstrated a level of innovation that is extremely rare. I mean, certainly by far the most innovative company in the car industry, not even close, type of thing. I do think Tesla stock actually, long term, with Optimus and self-driving, Tesla will probably be the most valuable company in the world. But there are also other companies out there that make great products and services. So I think that's the way you want to look at it. Say, do you think this product, because that's the reason why companies exist, is to make great products and services. So if you think that a company is going to improve over time, then buy the stock, and if you don't, then don't. And then the stock market it's a very strange thing. It's kind of like, I think it's Warren Buffett's sort of metaphor or analogy is, the stock market's like having someone stand at the edge of your property or your house and yell prices to buy or sell your house every day. And sometimes they take their meds and sometimes they don't. So sometimes the person yelling out the price of your house is having a good day, and sometimes they're having a bad day. But it's still the same house. It's literally still the same house. So Tesla stock goes up and it goes down, but it's still the same company. It's just people's perception of the future. I don't know, I guess it's just very emotional, so. But for me, while it's difficult to predict how things will be from, in the next, say, 6 to 12 months, if you say, where will things be in 3 years or 5 years, the future of Tesla is incredibly bright.
Rule number 6 is be persistent.
When I started the first internet company, Zip2, with my brother and another person, Greg Curry, it wasn't really with the thought of being wealthy. I've got nothing against being wealthy, but
we'll get back to that later too.
but it's just it was just from the standpoint of wanting to be part of the internet, and I figured if we could make enough money to just get by, that would be okay. And when we started off, we literally only had one computer, and so it would be our web server during the day, and I'd code at night. And we just got a small office in Palo Alto back when rent was not insane, and it cost us $450 a month. It was cheaper than an apartment, so we actually just slept in the office and then showered at the YMCA on Page Mill, El Camino. So we'd walk over there and shower, and that was actually, I think that was when I first met you, by the way. So I don't know how many people, probably not many people know this, but we actually pitched Steve in January '96 on the Zip2 business plan, and actually I thought Steve was actually one of the most up to speed on what actually was in our business plan. Most of the people we met did not actually read our business plan. In fact, a lot of venture capitalists we met at the time didn't even know what the internet was. They'd never used it.
I'm not
and
sure,
they didn't think
I'm not
it would
sure
amount
if we
to
still
anything.
do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm talking sort of well-known people on Sand Hill. It was wow, okay. But at the time, nobody had made any money on the internet, so I guess that's then it wasn't really clear evidence that there was a business.
Rule number 7 is attract great people.
If you're creating a company or if you're joining a company, the most important thing is to is to attract great people. So either join a group that's amazing, that you really respect, or if you're building a company, you've got to gather great people. I mean, all a company is a group of people that have gathered together to create a product or service. And so depending upon how talented and hardworking that group is, and the degree to which they are focused cohesively in a good direction, that will determine the success of the company. So do everything you can to gather great people if you're creating a company.
Rule number 8 is improve your batting average.
When we think about applying first principles to the relationships and the teams that people have, how would you encourage us to think about that and act on those first principles when it comes to relationships and teams?
Well, I think there are actually quite a few things I've written over the years that it would be good to compile into like a, I don't know, booklet or something. Because I actually have to be reminded of those things myself. And I'm like, oh, I remember that thing that I thought of after making so many mistakes and trying to make fewer mistakes. So, there's like, for example, that like 5-step process of like make the requirements less dumb and then try to delete the part and process step, only then optimize, only then speed it up, and only the 5th thing is automate. I have to repeat that to myself many times because I've made the mistake of doing it backwards so many times. I think always operating on the principle that everyone is wrong to some degree, and we should aspire to be less wrong over time, which we will not always succeed in doing. But if 2 days out of 3 you're less wrong over time, your batting average is going to be really good. So nobody ever bats 1,000, but you can improve your batting average. So I think rigorous, you want to critique yourself, you want to internalize responsibility. And these are all things I need to remind myself of. Just to be clear, I'm not like suggesting internalize responsibility. Be less wrong. And we should remember what is our goal as a company. Our goal is to make amazing products that people love, and then to take care of those products and service. So we should say, what are we doing to make our products better, to make them more affordable, to have the customer experience be delightful? Because that's actually the purpose of a company. Sometimes people forget, why does a company exist? A company exists, it's a group of people collected together to produce a compelling product or service that others find useful, and where the value of the product and service is greater than the cost of what it took to make that product or service. So sometimes, weirdly, profit is like viewed negatively, but really profit is just the difference in value between the output and the input. It's like, what did it cost you to make it, and what did it cost you, and what are people prepared to pay for it? That's the value that you created. So it's tough, actually, even to maintain like a 10% profitability, which is to make the output 10% more valuable than the input. It's actually quite hard, especially in the car industry, which is very competitive. So we should just not lose sight of like, why are we here? Oh, we're here to make useful products that people love, and take care of them over time. So then, how are we doing in that respect, and how can we do that better?
Rule number 9 is have long-term goals.
Running a public company does have its drawbacks.
So you're not in a hurry?
No.
Okay.
In the case of Tesla and SpaceX, we had to raise capital, and we had kind of a complex equity structure that needed to be resolved by going public, and so I felt we kind of needed to do that in those two cases. We don't have to do that in SpaceX. I think there's a good chance we will at some point in the future, but SpaceX's objectives are super long term, and the market is not. So I'm a bit worried that if we did go public, certainly if we went public too soon, that market pressure would force us to do short-term things and abandon kind of long-term projects.
Like going to Mars.
Right, going to Mars is very long-term.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is relax and have fun.
Let's talk now about SpaceX, Tesla. You got a lot of lawsuits. You've got X.com. You got a lot going on. How do you relax?
Well, I relax. I spend time with my kids, my friends, and I, make somewhat of a nerd technologist. So I like playing video games. So I'll play video games with friends online.
Which one?
Lately, I've been playing Diablo, but I've played almost all the games over the years. A long time ago, I was like semi-pro good at Quake. This is really dating me because we're talking about like 125 years ago.
I don't know video games. I just know that my great nephew loves Fortnite and some other stuff. He's always with the headphones and doing the thing. So that helps you relax, right? So
yeah. And the nice thing is if you've got friends in different cities and they're playing the same game, you can both go online at the same time and play the game together, even though you're in different cities.
So how do you keep your focus on the big picture when you're constantly faced with, we could be out of business in a month?
Well, it's just a very small percentage of mental energy is on the big picture. Like you know where you're generally heading for, and the actual path is going to be some sort of zigzaggy thing in that direction. And try not to deviate too far from the path that you want to be on, but you're going to have to do that to some degree. But I don't want to diminish the. I mean, I think the profit motive is a good one if the rules of an industry are properly set up. So there's nothing fundamentally wrong with profit. In fact, profit just means that people are paying you more for whatever you're doing than you're spending to create it. That's a good thing. and if that's not the case, then you'll be out of business, and rightfully so. Because you're not adding enough value.
For 10 more amazing rules from Elon Musk, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
What was your biggest failure, and how did it change you?
I have to really think hard about that. Failure, never heard of it.
There's your answer.
Well, there's a ton of failures along the way, that's for sure. For SpaceX, first 3 launches failed, and we're just barely able to scrape together enough parts